in last video we discussed few types of asexual reproduction. Today we'll start with third type. Third type is spore formation. Okay, so there are many types of spores. You all of you must be aware about what is a spore. Now, spore is a unicellular structure which is not a gamete, but which is involved in reproduction. Okay, so in this particular type we will be discussing only two types of spores. There are many types of spores, but we will discuss only two types of spores. First is zoospores. Okay, zoospores means they are motile. Okay, motile means they can move in water with the help of flagella. Okay, and so motile means they will be having flagella. So we are going to consider example of Chlamydomonas. Okay, so example is, first of all we'll see example is Chlamydomonas. And the spores of Chlamydomonas, let's say these spores have two flagella, so they are called biflagellate. They are called biflagellate spores. They are motile. And second type of spores are called conidia. Okay, so these first of all these spores will detach or will let's say they'll come out of the existing parent cell and they will form new organism. Okay, second type of spores are called conidia. Okay, now this type of spores are non-motile, means they don't have any flagella or mechanism which can help in their movement. Okay, so they are non-motile. Example over here is of Penicillium. Penicillium is a fungi. So let's say Penicillium grows on a substratum. Let's say this is a particular Penicillium. Okay, and the conidia grows on the top of the Penicillium like this, and they are formed in a chain. Okay, so we will say they are formed in chain. Okay, so these are all conidia. They will get separate from this structure. Okay, and they will form a new fungi when they found a particular substratum. Okay, so this is a substratum. It will get settled on the substratum and it will form new colony. Okay, so these are conidia. Okay, these structures on the top are called conidia, and the example is Penicillium. Okay, so this is spore formation. The next type we are going to discuss is fragmentation. Okay, now as the word suggests, fragmentation means breaking of fragmentation means breaking of the filament. Okay, so we'll discuss example of this particular method is Spirogyra, which is an algae, which is a filamentous algae. So let's say if this is filamentous algae, and by any natural disturbance in water, let's say this filament gets broken from here. Okay, so it will let's say these are two fragments created by the disturbance in the water. Because of the disturbance, this gets fragmented into two smaller fragments. Each fragment will now create another colony of the algae. Okay, so this is fragmentation. It is very simple, so will not go that much in detail. Fifth type is regeneration. Now, example of regeneration is planaria. Okay, planaria. Now, planaria, let's say if this is planaria. And by any disturbance, this organism gets fragmented into three segments. Each segment will give rise to a new organism. Okay, each fragment will give rise to a new organism. This is called regeneration. So let's say this fragment will give rise to a new organism. So other part of the organism will regenerate itself. Okay, what happens in starfish? If we split the starfish into two halves, then the one half will generate the other half. Okay, so it will be two new organism created from single organism. That is regeneration. Okay. Okay. So now we'll start with new type, a new method of asexual reproduction, which is not given in your books. So we'll discuss it for neat purposes. Okay. So listen to me very carefully. It is sixth method, that is plasmotomy. This is observed in multinuclear organisms. Multinucleate organisms. Okay, multinucleate means a single cell will contain many nucleuses. Okay, examples of multinucleate organisms are Opalina and Phyllomixa. Okay, Opalina and Phyllomixa. Okay, it's one. Phyllomixa. Okay, so in general, in other organism, what happens? First of all, the organism will, let's say if this is a particular organism, and it will first undergo karyokinesis, means its nucleus will split into two, then cytokinesis will occur. Okay, so first karyokinesis and then cytokinesis. But in these organisms, okay, this is in general, like as we have discussed, cell division or fission. Okay, so what happens? A single cell will first undergo karyokinesis. Karyokinesis means division of nucleus. Okay, so it will divide into two nuclei. Okay, and then the cytoplasm will divide. That process, division of cytoplasm, is known as cytokinesis. So in general, first of all karyokinesis occurs, and then which is followed by cytokinesis. Okay, this will result into two daughter cells. Okay, two daughter cells. But in multinucleate organism, what happens? Let's say if an organism, now they are multinuclear, it contains 10 nucleus. So these are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. These are total 10 number of nuclei. Okay, so 10 nuclei, organism with 10 nuclei. Now this organism will undergo first cytokinesis. Okay, cytokinesis means it will divide into two cells with 5 nuclei. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So cytokinesis occurred first, and then each of this cell now will undergo karyokinesis. And it will form 10 nuclei as parent cell. So these are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other cell will also undergo karyokinesis. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So in general, first of all karyokinesis occurs and then cytokinesis occurs. But in multinucleate organism, okay, first of all cytokinesis occurs, which divides a cell into two daughter cells containing 5 nuclei each. Okay, then these both will undergo karyokinesis and form other 5 nuclei. Okay, and they will form 10 nuclei each. Okay, this is called plasmatomere. Okay, so till now whatever we have discussed was about asexual reproduction in animals. Now we'll start asexual reproduction in plants. Okay, asexual reproduction in plants, which includes first of all vegetative propagation, second apomixis, okay, vegetative propagation and apomixis. We'll discuss this both in details, right? So we'll start with vegetative propagation. Now vegetative propagation involves reproduction of, asexual reproduction through vegetative parts of the plants. Now what are the vegetative parts of the plant? That is stem, root and leaves. So we'll discuss all the parts separately. So first is stem. Okay, vegetative propagation through stem. Okay, now in certain organisms or in certain plants, we see there is node and internode. Okay, so when we grow stem, let's say first type, that is runners. In runners, if we grow a stem, let's say this is a stem. Okay, stem will generate branches. These are the roots. Now what happens? one branch will generate horizontal to the soil surface, and whenever this horizontal branch touches the soil, and whenever it gets favorable condition, this branch will develop another plant over there. Okay, another plant over there. This branch contains many nodes. Okay, many nodes, and it is hard structure. Okay, it is hard structure. Example of runner is what is the example of runner? It is cynodon or dupe grass. Okay, example of runner is cynodon, which is called commonly known as dupe grass. Okay, second is let's say sucker. Example of sucker is chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum. It is just similar to runners, but the branch which develops through the stem will create an arc over the surface of the soil. So it will create arc, okay, and it will form new organism. This is the basic difference between runners and the suckers. In runners, the branch will be horizontal to the soil surface, and in suckers, the branch will create an arc over the surface. Third type is stolon. Okay, example of stolon is strawberry. Okay, as we have discussed, suckers will create arc over the surface. Now in stolon, arc will be created below the surface. Okay, arc will be created below the surface. Okay, that's the basic difference between runners, suckers and the stolon. Okay, fourth type is offset. Now offset is observed in aquatic plants, and the example of offset example is Eichhornia, which is commonly known as water hyacinth. And in India it is called terror of Bengal. Okay, now these are aquatic plants, so they will contain those parenchyma cells, so they will be inflated parts observed. Okay, we'll be observing inflated parts. Okay, so let's say this is the water surface, and this organism, let's say we grew one. These are inflated leaves which can float on the water, and the roots of this plant will be inflated as well. Okay, due to presence of parenchyma cells. Okay, so these are inflated roots. Okay, now one branch will generate horizontally, which will create another plant. it looks similar to the runners. Okay, it looks similar to the runners. In both the cases, the branches developing are horizontal to the surface, but this is terrestrial plant and this is aquatic plants. Okay, another difference is that there are many nodes found on the branches developed on the runners. Okay, there are many nodes. You can see there are many nodes present. Okay, and in offset branch there are only two nodes, and in between there is only single internode. Okay, this is the basic difference. Here you can see many nodes and internodes, but here there will be only two nodes and single internode. Okay, this is the basic difference. And why it is called Terror of Bengal? Let's say these are exotic plants. If they are used or they are grown to beautify a pond. Okay, now they were brought from other countries. Okay, and they are very rapidly growing plants. Let's say if we grow single plant, single water hyacinth in a pond. Okay, in few days this plant will cover all the surface of the pond. Okay, because of that the contact of air with water gets cut. Okay, and the oxygen diffusion stops over there. Okay, because of the layer formed of water hyacinth. Okay, and because of that all the organism living inside the pond, okay, will eventually die because of lack of oxygen. Okay, so that's why it is called Terror of Bengal. Okay. Then fifth type is tubers. That is example is potato. Now as you can see there are many scars present on the potato. These scars are generally known as eye of the potato. Okay, this eye contains nodes inside which generate into a new plant. Okay, it's very simple and you already have studied in 11th as well as in your previous standards. Okay, then sixth type is rhizome. It is observed in ginger. Example is ginger. Now you must have observed ginger closely. You will see different you will observe this kind of lines on the ginger. These are nodes. Okay, or you can say these are these are nodes only, and they will germinate into a new plant. Okay, so example is ginger. Seventh is bulb. Example of bulb is onion or garlic. Okay, so we already have seen all these examples, so we are not going to discuss it over here. Eighth type is corn. Okay, example of corn is colocasia. Okay, so these are all the types of vegetative propagation in plants. Okay, so now we'll discuss other two vegetative parts, that is vegetative propagation through root. Okay, so the examples are Dalbergia seashore. Commonly we call it as shisham plant. Okay, now we use this plant as in furnitures. Okay, and the other example is sweet potato. Or the scientific name is Ipomia batata. Scientific name is scientific name of sweet potato is Ipomia batata. Okay, so in this type of vegetative propagation, the roots are the storing structures. So let's say if this is a particular sweet potato, okay, they are irregular in shape, but they have terminal or they have buds present on the, or the structures which are responsible for the reproduction, asexual reproduction, or we call them buds, are present on the roots. Okay, so these will generate into formation of new roots and leaves. Okay, that is that we already have studied. These roots have radical buds. The buds are called radical buds. Roots have the radical buds. Okay, so these roots will help in propagation or asexual reproduction. Okay, now we'll discuss the third vegetative structure, that is from leaf. Okay, the example of vegetative propagation through leaf are Bryophyllum, then Bignonia, and Kalanchoe. Okay, Kalanchoe pinnata. Okay, in these plants there are foliar buds present on the surface of the leaf. Okay, let's say if this is particular leaf and it has buds present on the surface, these are known as foliar buds. Okay, now these buds, whenever this leaf gets mature and it fall off from the plant, it gets into the contact with the soil. Okay, these buds will germinate plants, new plants through them. Okay, but as soon as this leaf fall off from the plant and it gets in contact with the soil only. Okay, this is the type of vegetative propagation which allows reproduction through leaf. Okay, so this is all for vegetative propagation. We'll discuss. Okay, so now we'll start with second type of asexual reproduction in plants, that is apomixis. Okay, now before discussing apomixis, we'll have to rewind or recall the structure of ovule. So we'll first recall the structure of ovule, then we'll go through the different types of apomixis. Okay, so let's say we already have studied the structure of ovule in standard 11. We'll discuss it again over here. Now this is the, what is this? Let's say this is gynoecium. It contains three parts: ovary, style, and stigma. And ovary contains the ovule. Okay. Now we drew this diagram in 11th. Okay, like this. I will enlarge this portion over here. Okay. Let's say if this is the wall of ovary and this is placenta. This is wall of ovary and this is placenta, through which the ovule is attached to the surface of the ovary. Okay, inner surface of the ovary or wall of the ovary. Okay, so ovule is attached here like this. This is ovule. Okay, so placenta is a tissue which is for the attachment of the ovule with the wall of the ovary. Okay, this stalk-like structure, the stalk-like structure is known as funicle. So this stalk-like structure is known as funicle. Okay, this stalk-like structure is known as funicle. These are integuments. What do we call it? Integuments. Okay. And there is a mass of cell present in between these integuments. These are known as, mass of cell is known as nucellus. Okay, and one cell from this nucellus, one cell from this nucellus towards the micropyle. This opening is known as micropyle. And the cell near the micropyle is called MMC, megaspore mother cell. Okay, there is megaspore mother cell. Megaspore mother cell will result in embryo sac, formation of embryo sac. So it is a nucellar cell. It is just MMC, megaspore mother cell is just a nucellar cell, gets converted into megaspore mother cell, which will eventually gets converted into embryo sac. Okay, and it is towards the micropylar end. So this is ovule. Okay, it has two ends. This is micropylar end and this is chalazal end, chalaza or chalazal end. Okay, so this is the structure of ovule. Okay, now we'll come back to apomixis. Okay, we'll leave this diagram over here. One thing also, there is a tissue overlapping at the chalazal end on the it starts from the funicle and it overlaps on the chalazal side. Okay, it is called raphe. This portion is known as raphe. Okay, graphite. So this is structure of ovule. This is anatropous ovule, and which is most common in angiosperms or flowering plants. Anatropous means upside down. Okay, so this is anatropous ovule, which means upside down. So the micropylar end is towards the bottom of the ovary. Okay, so the pollen tube will germinate and gets entered from the micropylar end. So we drew this kind of diagram in previous standards. Okay, so that is because micropylar end is towards the bottom side of the ovary. Okay, so the pollen tube will come and enter from the micropylar end. If micropyle is towards the on the upper side, then the pollen tube will directly enter through that micropyle. Okay, it doesn't have to turn and enter from the lower bottom. Okay, but this is anatropous ovule, so it has micropyle on the bottom side. Okay, which is called micropylar end. Okay, now we'll discuss apomixis. Okay, so apomixis is for formation of, it is asexual reproduction in plants. Asexual reproduction in plants, especially by agamospermy. Okay, now A means anti, gamo means marriage. In Greek, it is called marriage. And spermy means seed. Okay, so agamospermy means formation of fruits or seeds, formation of seed without sexual reproduction. Okay, formation of seed without sexual reproduction. Generally, seeds are produced after sexual reproduction or after fusion of male and female gamete. But here there is no fusion of male and female gamete. There is no fertilization. Without fertilization, the seeds are produced. Okay, so it is called agamospermy as well. Okay, agamospermy. It has three types. First type is adventive agamospermy. Adventive agamospermy, which is formation of embryo from diploid cells. Diploid means 2N diploid cells of nucellus or integuments. Okay, so embryo is formed from the diploid cells of nucellus or integuments. Okay, so here no fusion or no fertilization is happening. Okay, without fertilization, these embryo or seeds are formed. Okay, that's why it is called apomixis, and that's why it is called asexual reproduction. So it is adventive agamospermy is most commonly seen in citrus plants. Okay, so that is first type. Second type is second type is recurrent agamospermy or apomixis. Recurrent agamospermy. Okay, so in this, formation of embryo is from diploid megaspore mother cell. Okay, so formation of embryo from diploid megaspore mother cell. Okay, megaspore mother cell. Now this cell is initially diploid. When it gets converted into embryo sac, it becomes haploid in nature. Okay, then if fertilization occurs, it will become diploid again. Okay, so initially it is diploid. So embryo will be formed from diploid megaspore mother cell. Okay, example of recurrent agamospermy is allium, that is onion, and malus, that is apples. Okay, third type is non-recurrent non-recurrent agamospermy, which involves formation of embryo from haploid embryo sac and haploid unfertilized unfertilized embryo sacs. So you might remember that this megaspore mother cell will get converted into embryo sac. Now embryo sac contains total how many cells? It contains total 8 nuclei and 7 cells. Okay, there will be 3 antipodal cells on the chalazal side and 3 cells at the micropylar end. One cell is a bit bigger and other 2 cells are smaller in size, which are called synergids. Okay, so this is embryo sac. So before fertilization, this embryo sac is haploid. Okay, and if fertilization does not occur, then this embryo sac will form embryo. Okay, without fertilization also. But these, okay, the plant or the seeds germinated through will be, or they will be sterile. Normally sterile. Sterile means they will not be capable of producing plants. Okay, new plants. They will just give you fruits. Okay, that's why they are called, this method is called parthenogenesis as well. Okay, so it is also called parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis means formation of seedless fruits. Okay, parthenogenesis is formation of seedless fruits. That is, you can see grapes and banana. Okay, these are the examples of non-recurrent agamospermy. Other examples are datura. And Z maize. Which is corn. Okay. So these are the three types of apomixis which does not involve fertilization. Okay, what is fertilization? Fertilization is fusion of male gamete and female gamete. But here, without even fertilization, the seeds are forming. Okay, so it is called apomixis. Okay, we'll discuss other things in the next video. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the video.